broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, to discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss and address whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here because God is concerned about that which concerns you. So you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. So we are here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is Earth's finest water. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you who have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution page of our website at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here to address whatever topics you desire to discuss and whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. So I'm going to begin by addressing a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are really enjoying the quality of your life right now. However, you are concerned that it will not last. And you want to know how do you prevent that from becoming a disaster. So listen, I've heard people say this often. First of all, we walk by faith and not by sight. So you have to believe that because God has blessed you with a quality of life now, you have to believe God that He will continue to bless your life. Now, that does not imply that every day is going to be a perfect day, but every day is going to be better than the day before. And the reason that I say that is because you have control over that by your attitude. As a man thinketh, so is he, man or woman, so is he or she. You have control over how you respond to whatever challenges you might have to face. God will give you direction and instruction to navigate those challenges. He will order your steps. He will ensure that you overstep the obstacles of your life. When you look at those obstacles as opportunities, when you look at every opportunity as the possibility to enhance your quality of life instead of waiting on the other shoe to drop and a disaster to occur. So don't be concerned about what you are not experiencing right now. Enjoy what you are experiencing and work to ensure that you keep moving forward. So I love the fact that, when you play back the things that I say, I love that about our listeners and viewers who will repeat things that I've said. And the reason that I love that is because it tells me that you're getting it. So you're enjoying a quality of life right now, even in the midst of a pandemic, and that's a beautiful thing. And you're being concerned about something that you shouldn't be concerned about. Bad things do happen to good people. Let's clear that up right now. There are going to be challenges along the way of life. But as long as we bless the Most High God for what He's already done, as long as we honor God by every day living our lives to please Him, and as long as we continue to work our faith, in other words, keep working diligently to accomplish everything that God has purposed for our lives. God has a plan for each and every one of us. He knows the plan he has for us. It's of good and not of evil, that we might have an expected end. In other words, what God expects for us will come to pass. But we have to line our own expectations up with the expectations of God for us. We have to line up our expectations with his way, his will, and his word. Now, let me take a moment to address all of our listeners and viewers with this, because there are people who are experiencing the same thing you're experiencing right now. They know that life is good right now. And there are people who are concerned about what tomorrow is going to bring. You know, we know who brings tomorrow. So there's no reason for us to be concerned about what we have no control over. Let's focus on what we can control. And what we can control is having the right attitude, demonstrating the right behavior. Listen, bless the Most High God. Bless God for everything that he's doing in your life, the life of your family, your life of your loved ones, and even those who are connected to you. Continue to bless God for that. And then honor him by working your faith, working out your salvation, continuing to push forward to do what God has purposed for our lives. I always use the analogy, the appointment. Every one of us has an appointment. And let me just share this. So my wife and I were talking about a physician that we know who just passed recently. And the reality is that every one of us is going to come this way. We are appointed for life and for death. Nobody wants to talk about death because everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. But we all are going to. We're all going to leave this earthly dwelling and go to heaven. And when you get to heaven, you're not going to have anything to be concerned about. So why are you concerned about what tomorrow brings right here on earth when you know this isn't your last stop? That's the first thing. We're just working our way through this life. And while we're here, watch this. We're trying to maximize our success. And the way that we maximize our success is by experiencing, pardon me. So just so everyone knows, I'm suffering with my allergies today. That's why you saw me stop to wipe off my glasses for a moment. And now I'm sneezing a bit, but I am healthy and well. So don't be concerned, because I know some of you are so kind that you will be emailing me and texting me just to check in and make sure that I'm good. And I am. It is well with my soul. So let me say this. While we're here, what we want to do is build a great quality of life, enjoy the quality of life that we have, but we can't be complacent, and we have to keep moving forward. So the idea is to just keep moving forward and not concern yourself about the possibility that something's going to happen, because what happens is that if you believe something negative is going to happen, sooner or later something negative will happen, and that will disrupt your psyche. And if nothing negative happens, you'll cause something negative to happen by worrying about something negative happening. So we have to guard our heart, and we have to guard our thoughts. We have to make certain that our thoughts stay on point, that we're thinking about the goodness of the Lord and his benefits. He didn't bring us this far to leave us now. See, we recite a lot of these cliches, but we don't really apply them to our lives. We know God has not brought us this far to leave us stranded in the desert, in the wilderness. That's not the God we serve. He says he will lead us in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. And surely goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our lives. So if we're in the midst of the righteousness of God, in other words, living every day to please God, trying to do the right thing, following his way, his will, and his word, then we know that the goodness of God and the mercy of God is going to follow us every single day. We're right in the middle. We're in that sweet spot. I like to use that analogy. I kind of gave away a sermon that's coming up. We're in that sweet spot that we really want to dwell within. I know I'm going to give away some of the points of my series that I'm starting with this Sunday sermon, but here's the reality. He says he's leading us. That means God is right in front of us. He's going to meet us where we're going. He is leading us in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. That means you're carrying my legacy. I don't intend for you to get off the course, turn to the left or the right. I intend for you to follow my lead, my way, my will, and my word. And if you do that, if you stay right in the midst of that Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the way of God, the will of God, and the word of God, if you stay right in that, you can be assured that surely goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. That means every single day. I'm preaching the sermon that's coming up. We're in that sweet spot. We're right in the midst of the presence of God and his goodness and his mercy. Stop concerning yourself with things that are not important. And what I mean by that is, if they're not important because they haven't happened, you're expecting something to happen that isn't God's plan for you. God's plan for you is good and not of evil. Let's work out our salvation. Let's work our faith. Faith without works is dead. And let's make certain that we stay in that sweet spot. That we really stay right in the midst of that. And then we go forward. But we go upward with an upward trajectory to the next level. So I'm going to encourage you. Don't focus on what you can't see that might happen. Don't focus on that. Just keep doing the right thing. That's what righteousness is. Just keep doing the right thing every day. And you know that God will continue to bless you. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G provider, nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. And listen to this. You cannot have been a T-Mobile customer for the previous 90 days. We don't take their customers. We are encouraging others to become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and fastest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are dealing with numerous distractions which are having an impact on your professional success. So let me tell you what the problem truly is. The problem is that you're allowing your personal life to interfere with your professional life. You're allowing your personal needs, your personal desires, your personal needs, your personal wants I'm just going through it all, to interfere with your professional success. So you do have a lot of distractions. God allowed me to see in that secret place. If you keep your eyes on the secret place of your life, if you keep your eyes on the prize, reduce the distractions, eliminate the distractions. Some distractions are not possible to eliminate, they are possible to reduce. If you have a health concern, that's a distraction that you may not be able to eliminate, but you can reduce the distraction by doing all of the things that are necessary. So by changing your diet and nutrition for health and wellness purposes, making certain you take your medications if you're on medications. If you can reduce the effects of the health concern and eliminate the medication, that's something that you can do. Making certain that you follow up with your doctor's appointments, your physician appointments. Those are things that you can do to reduce the distractions. Because if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, there's going to be, with your health and wellness, when you have a health concern, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, there's going to be days that you're not going to feel your best, and that becomes a distraction. So you can reduce the distractions. You can't eliminate them because you've got to focus on doing what you need to do to remain healthy. But the things that you can eliminate, the distractions of other people, let me start there. So often we find ourselves being distracted by our children. We find ourselves being distracted by family members. We find ourselves being distracted by friends. Now, let me tell you what that looks like. To be distracted by your children means that if your children are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's going to create a distraction for you. But here's what you need to realize. At some point, we can give them all the information that we can possibly give them, no matter what age they are. We can give them all the information that we have available to us. And at a certain point in their lives, they're going to do exactly what they want to do when we're not looking. So all we can do is raise up a child in the way they should go so that when they grow old, they won't depart from it. We can give them input. We can offer some assistance when they're doing the right thing. The Bible tells us don't cast your pearls before swine. There's also and that includes our children. And then there's the old adage that you don't want to, pour into a black hole. You don't want to spiritually sow into ground that isn't fertile. But if your children are trying to do the right things, we try to lend some assistance. We cannot allow it to consume our lives. And what I mean by that is they're going to grow up, go off, and live their own lives. We have to allow them to live their own lives. Now, hopefully we've poured enough into them, because you can't raise them at 16. You got to raise them before they're 16, so that when they become 16, 18, 21, and on and further in life, God willing, that they will continue to outlive you. We have to recognize that at every stage there's going to be changes in their attitude, their behavior, their commitments, their discipline. All of those things are going to change. What we want for them is to have the spirit of excellence, to seek excellence. And I'm not talking about the excellence that people use as cliches today. There's a lot of that going on, but I don't see excellence. They'll say it because it sounds good. It's a nice, catchy phrase, but they're not doing it. They're not living it. So what we have to recognize is they've got a life to live. We have a life to live, and it can't become a distraction. It can't become a distraction to your professional success. Because if it does, you won't be able to help them. You won't be able to assist them. You won't be able to, you can't even give them good guidance on how to be a good professional. Because they emulate our behavior. Now, what we can do is we can eliminate that distraction by recognizing that we're praying for them every day. You know, my wife and I talk about this all the time. We pray for our children every single day. There's not a day that goes by that we're not praying for our children, and that's not a cliche. That is literally stopping every day, morning, afternoon, night, and praying for our children. That's the first thing. And the second thing is we have to continue to encourage them to live and follow the way of God, the will of God, and the word of God. Whether they do it or not, you got to encourage them. And that'll eliminate that distraction. And when you've done that, you've done all you can do. Now, family and friends, that's a whole different issue because they're not in your household. Your family has a life to live also, and you got to let them live it. In other words, we can't be Jesus. We can't decide that we're going to be responsible for everybody else's life because they're going to live the way they choose to live. Okay, that's one thing. Friends, you have no control over the way they choose to live. They're going to do whatever they want to do. So you can't allow friends to become distractions, and you can't allow the way they live to become the way you live. They're just your friends. And the good news is you get to choose them. You don't get to choose your family, but you do get to choose your friends. And you don't need to allow that to become a distraction. The problem is we've been, and I've said this from the pulpit on Sundays, we've been doing things the wrong way for so long we think it's the right way to do them. We've got to change the method of the way we live. And part of that is reducing every distraction that we can reduce and eliminate every distraction that we can eliminate. We cannot allow our personal lives to not only impact but disrupt our professional success. So that's something we have to work on every day, is reducing and eliminating distractions. If we focus on doing that as part of our daily development, we're going to find that we will become better versions of ourselves personally, both personally and professionally. So I just want to encourage you, don't allow your personal life to disrupt your professional life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, check for their store hours. Stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you are not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And the White Company, located in London, the UK, they also have a store on 5th Avenue in New York and a store at the Short Hills Mall in Short Hills, New Jersey. So if you're in either of those areas, check for their store hours and stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. They have home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in either of those areas, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that now that we are coming out of this pandemic, what can you do to make some changes in your life and relationships? You know, that's a very interesting question, because this pandemic has given us all an opportunity to make some changes, to become a better version of ourselves. This has given us the opportunity to reflect. It's given us the opportunity to focus. It's given us the opportunity to make changes that should enhance the quality of our lives. Okay. So now that we come out of this, the question for many people, and this is an excellent question you have posed, the question for many people is, do they go back to what they have always done? One of the things that I want to share with you is, as God showed me in that secret place of your life, is that relationships you currently have, relationships that you established prior to the pandemic, relationships that you've maintained during the pandemic, they're not healthy relationships. They're not relationships that will inspire you. Well, let me, first of all, yes, I'll stay there. Inspire you to be the best version of yourself that you could possibly become. They're not relationships that are healthy, because they're not going to make you better. They're going to hold you down. When you're trying to soar, they're going to hold you back, because they don't want to be left behind, and they're not willing to make changes. You need some new relationships. You need some new people. You know, this is a struggle for most people, is having new people in your life. We like to be around the people that we've always known and that we're comfortable with, because they don't make us feel inferior. And what I mean by that is, they're people you're comfortable with because they're not doing anything different than you've always done. What we really need to do is spend more time developing relationships with people who are doing more than we've always done. They've accomplished more. They are more successful. They are constantly looking for ways to maximize their success. And I'm not talking about just worldly success. I'm just talking about professional success. I'm not talking about them being able to put themselves on display. And here's what's really good. People who really have maximized their success aren't really trying to put themselves on display. They're really trying to keep moving about, doing what they need to do to preserve what they have established. So it's one thing to accomplish and want others to know that you're accomplished, that you've accomplished something. It's something. This whole society we live in has really messed up a lot of folks. It's messed many of us up along the way, because we've gotten through life wanting to succeed, and now what's happened is that technology has changed the world in which we live, so that people spend all of their time trying to show their success. Selfies, they're videotaping everything that they possibly can videotape to show their success. And in reality, they've only reached a certain level of success. We want to maximize our success. every single day of our lives. I'm going to encourage you to get some new relationships. Spend some time learning about other people who are doing other things outside of what you've always done. And you will find that coming out of this pandemic will be a new experience for you. 3D, today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, as always, is brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe